I am your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. This is one of the most important videos in my life as at now, because it concerns my dear country, Nigeria. I passionately love this country. I grew up with so much hope and faith in this country. And I got the best from this country. I went to the best schools any person can attend in the world at a very affordable price. When I say in the world, I know what I'm talking about. The secondary school I attended is like Eton College in the UK. When I went to FGC Warri, just before then, they were making the best results in the West African School Certificate. And these two schools have produced people all over the world that have excelled. Then I went to the College of Medicine, University of Ibadan. When we were in school, the King of Saudi Arabia was bringing his family for treatment in the University College Hospital. All these I was able to enjoy with a father that was a refuse collector, who later became a security man in a hotel, a poor man's child. Recently, one of my workers, his son, gained admission to read medicine in a state university. The tuition fee was about 3 million. And I was thinking, if it was in this dispensation, I would not have been different from some of these boys who are militants. Our country is in a very precarious situation, and we cannot run away from it. Particularly those of us who are elders, who the generation before mine and my generation put this country into this mess. I have never been a politician. I have never done contracts. Government has never supported me. I don't do launchings. God has been my source of supply, and I work very hard. But I was in a public transport, because I don't drive long distances, from a preaching engagement in Port Harcourt, and a young man said, "Sir, your generation put us in this mess that we are in." And I felt very bad and felt very guilty. And I made up my mind that the little contribution I can make to help rectify the ills of this nation, I will do. I also have been building institutions to correct some of these anomalies. But I want to make a suggestion. I've done this before, but the platform was quite small. Maybe now people can help me share this around the world amongst Nigerians so that people can hear. You remember the video I made during NSAS, the way the oligarchy fight. You remember the one I made directly to Buhari? They called me from the House of Representatives that they have heard my voice. That video contributed to the 1 million man march that Igbokwe was planning, contributed to why it was cancelled. Now I want to do a video again. Nigeria, my country, which way? The way we are presently, we are heading towards the situation of former Yugoslavia that broke down into small countries: Serbia, Croatia, Montenegro, Kosovo, several, Albania. Yugoslavia was a united nation under President Joseph Tito, and it was doing well. It was doing well. But after some time, religion, the factors I'm seeing in Nigeria, regionalism, religion, tribalism, and politics came into Yugoslavia, and they started killing each other. And Muslims were killed. Serbians, Kosovo was bombed to ruins until the United States, when Amanpour accused Bill Clinton of flip-flopping, and Kosovo was eventually, Sarajevo and the rest places were eventually were free from the effect of war criminals that were later taken to The Hague. We are in the same situation in Nigeria. Regionalism has taken a greater part of us. Tribalism has taken a greater part of us. And religion has become a bane in our country. In those days, when Muslims were doing Salah, we celebrated with them. While we do Christmas, they celebrated with us. In the University of Ibadan, they went home and brought ram for us to eat, and we mixed with each other. We never knew which tribe was which tribe when we were living at Warri. Now, today, the ethnic divisions have become so prominent, particularly from the Buhari era. People like Buhari, El-Rufai made this country to as if the Fulanis were enemies of the country. And the Fulanization of Buhari cabinet was such that other regions started agitating. And that's why these all the Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa, Igboho, and several others came up. Now, there is ethnic cleansing in Plateau State, in Kaduna State, in several parts of this great country. The national anthem in those days was "Do tribe and tongue made thee Ifa, in brotherhood we stand." The only thing that unites us today is football and suffering. Today, we now have an insensitive leadership that are not sensitive to the needs of the people. Today, electoral fraud has become the norm. Judicial rascality and inconsistency has become the norm. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I propose the following. We should have a presidential council, a 6-man presidential council, instead of just one man being the president. If we have a 6-man presidential council, each president comes from the 6 geopolitical zones. And so we will not have national parties. We should have regional parties. National parties have gradually started turning to one-party state. The Southwest will have their own political parties, campaign there, produce their own presidential candidate. By contesting among themselves, they will bring out the best. It's not going to be the phenomenon of we against them. The North Central will contest among themselves, produce their own candidates, their best. The Northwest, Northeast, then we come to Southeast, South, we will produce 6 good presidential candidates. Just take for this instance, for example, assuming we had regional parties, we will not have had APC and PDP and maybe Labour Party alone. We will have had up to 4 to 5 parties in southwestern Nigeria. And we will have gotten 5 presidential candidates from southwestern Nigeria contesting under different platforms and different primaries, and the southwestern part of Nigeria will have given us their own candidate. Southeast will have given us their own candidate. South will have produced their own candidate. When this 6-man presidential council are in power, they will stay in power for 12 years. Instead of 1 man for 8 years, let's have 6-man presidential council for 12 years. So for the 12 years, you will have somebody from the Southeast, somebody from the South, somebody from all the regions. And then the marginalization, perceived marginalization and discrimination by certain segments of this country will no longer hold. And since these political parties are from the regions, the regional parties, they don't need to come and campaign around this country. The cost of elections will reduce. The control over the country by one man will reduce. we will have been respecting the republican nature of this country, giving preeminence to the different regions. Now, each of these 6-man presidential council members will have a portfolio. The portfolios will include the following, but not exclusively: defense, petroleum, energy, internal affairs, external affairs, works. So if they have 6, and finance, petroleum and energy will go together, and finance. This 6-man presidential council, one man has a portfolio under him. He will be representing the interests of those who voted him to a large extent, but at the same time, one man cannot corner the economy of this country and the leadership of this country into his armpit like during the Buhari era. The Buhari era did so much harm to this country. And then that one term for 12 years, this group of people will never come back to the presidential council again. The presidential council, to determine who starts running the council, will be done by ballot, that is picking lots, by ex-presidents, ex-vice presidents, the ex-chief justices of the Federation, under the supervision of INEC, shall conduct that picking of lots. And then they will serve according to their slots. Then, from there, I want to suggest there should be no Senate. The Senate is a bloody waste of resources where people go and sit as if they are in a beer parlor. People who you have been a former minister, become a governor, then you go to Senate, you receive pension from 2 places. Just bloody waste of our money. They sit down and talk rubbish. Enough is enough. We spend so much of our resources on these people. If an elder like me cannot speak in this country, then what will the children say? The Nigerian senator is one of the highest paid in the world. It's only countries like Singapore and a few others that pay more than our senators. You give them inconvenience allowance. We, who are the citizens that are being inconvenienced, how much allowance do you pay us? Sitting allowance, so allowance, that allowance. A former governor will retire, they will give him 2 buildings, one in Abuja and one other place, or depending on the state he served, give him so cars, and the people are suffering. This rubbish must stop. So, no Senate, we have House of Representatives. That one is enough. No national parties. Parties should remain in their geopolitical zones, and they do not have branches in the other zones. So we don't have a few crooks holding this country to ransom and practicing elite capture. Now, if somebody is not functioning well, his geopolitical zone can withdraw him. The elections in the geopolitical zones do not need to take place the same day for proper supervision and monitoring, but they can be done 6 weeks, each Saturday in a week. And in 6 weeks, we will have had a transition, a presidential election transition. The next thing I want to suggest, we must remove state electoral commissions that are just appendages of the governors to select some of their cronies to put in the local governments. And if the local governments do not function well, grassroots development will not function well. I studied public administration, and one of my subjects I handled was political parties and local government politics and grassroots development. So I know what I'm talking about. I made 10 A's. I made the best result. I have a master's degree in it, apart from being a medical doctor. So, state parties and local government parties can present independent candidates for governorship and any other office. It is because it is these primaries, it's from these primaries that these criminals come into power, push people away, and bring their cronies and their children and their wives and their girlfriends into power. Now, salaries and allowances of the political office holders, the highest should be also, the highest salaries and allowances should be equivalent to that of a vice chancellor. When we make politics less attractive, only those who have the interest of the country will come to serve. Now, I said that if a region decides to withdraw their candidate, they can do so. The local governments should be independent and receive their allocations directly from the Federal Accounts and Allocation Committee. They should not pass through the local government service commission in the states. That's where a lot of the money gets lost. We should have federal police, state police, and community police. It will aid our security. It will prevent oppression from the central government. By decentralizing governance in Nigeria, the different regions will have a sense of security. They will have a sense of responsibility. And by bringing the best out of these regions to contest, imagine in the West, Tinubu will have contested against Oshibanjo, any other person in the West. Obi will have contested against Soludo, whoever, Obi Ekwesilieze, or whoever, our dear lady, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala in the East. In the South, Wike, Okowa, Amechi will have contested. At least we will have gotten somebody. Just like that around this country. And then the tension in this country will reduce and development will come up, will improve. I will continue this dialogue. This is not a perfect document, but it's something we can start working with to prevent all these agitations from different units of the country, the suffering of the people. The second thing I want to tell you, where we are heading to, apart from the Yugoslavia experience, we might be heading to the Argentine experience. Some years back, their currency went so low, their debt profile went so high that Argentina was at the point of collapse. The other possibility is the Zimbabwean approach. Our naira is falling gradually, falling and falling. It will reach a time. I bought a generator to power something in my second school for 300,000 some last year. Today is 500,000. I bought cement for 5,400 naira. Now the next time I went, it was 5,550. I bought 150 bags. The next day it was 7,000 naira for cement. This was cement I bought for 50 naira a bag when I built my first house. When I sent my children my first son to Europe to study medicine, dollar was 114 naira. I bought it in Ogudu Road, Echo Bank. I just went there and bought it. Not this one. We don't even have dollars anywhere. This country is at the brink of collapse. Every reasonable Nigerian, every patriotic Nigerian must stand up. Stand up for our country, so that the labors of our heroes past will not be in vain. I remain your friend, Reverend Dr. Charles Apoki. Share this video. Please share this video. Let somebody hear the voice of reason. I remain your friend. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Send a message to +234 7052 136763. Please don't bring your tribal sentiments and political parasitism to this discussion. It's for mature minds and patriotic citizens alone. God bless you.